And this seems to be the trigger, the banking crisis, I think, when people realize, oh, my money may not be so safe in a fractional reserve banking system. It might be safer in a fully collateralized stablecoin or crypto dollar. It seems to be hitting that inflection point that I've been looking for a while. I'm just kind of, deer in the headlights watching, wow, is it really finally happening?
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone giving us his prediction and insights on Bitcoin's performance as a global digital collateral. According to McGlone, Bitcoin is gaining recognition as a higher beta version of gold and a potential hedge against banking issues, making it an increasingly attractive investment option. He believes that despite being a small portion of global portfolios, Bitcoin is seen as a rapidly advancing technology with overwhelming potential that's likely to be difficult to stop in the long term. While the stock market is still under pressure, Bitcoin is at a turning point and may be ready for a significant surge. Because Bitcoin has already bounced back above the $25,000 resistance level, this indicates a positive trend with massive upside this year. Let's check out the latest interview with Mike McGlone as he gives us his prediction for Bitcoin in the next few months. If you enjoy the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Let's get right into the video.
I never believed in the hedge against inflation because that's so long term. Bitcoin needs to be around for, I think, decades before that happens. It's still just a baby. It's just evolving. It's so early days. It's such a small portion of global portfolios. But as far as a potential hedge against banking issues, yeah, I mean, it's coming up there like with gold and treasury bonds. Now, it's just a high beta, high risk version, but I think people are realizing, wow, I really probably have to have some of this, particularly if I'm looking to get away from risk assets like the stock market. This Bitcoin stuff is, if risk assets do recover, it's probably going to outperform. Bitcoin was born out of the last significant financial crisis, or the great financial crisis in 2008 and 9. And I think it's in the process of defining Bitcoin of global digital collateral. Now, that's the current state. Bitcoin has done very well bouncing back above $25,000 resistance. At the time we're taping this on Wednesday, it's around $27,000, while the stock market still is under pressure. And I think what's happening is we're seeing a significant rally in this Bitcoin this year, up to about 73%. Obviously, it was too oversold last year, but partly because people are realizing that it's becoming more like gold and U.S. Treasury bonds, but just a higher beta version of gold. And it's gaining accolades as maybe not as so much a store of value yet, but as global digital collateral in a world that's going digital. So this financial crisis is quite significant. It's defining, and I think people are realizing one thing about Bitcoin, it's no one's project and no one's liability, and it's completely independent like gold. The thing is, it has that definable diminishing supply, and it's so low as far as adoption in so early days. And this seems to be the trigger, the banking crisis, I think, when people realize, oh, my money may not be so safe in a fractional reserve banking system. It might be safer in a fully collateralized stablecoin or crypto dollar. It seems to be hitting that inflection point that I've been looking for a while. I'm just kind of, deer in the headlights watching, wow, is it really finally happening? This is an overwhelming, rapidly advancing technology, and most astute, smart people in this country get it. Some don't. They might be incumbents in power. But like all the major changes in history, even like the key thing, the development of euro dollars, that was not really, the trading of U.S. dollars offshore in banks was not really supported by the U.S. government. But we're seeing, I think, this just overwhelming. So I think, I don't know where that's going to go. I do know if the current administration continues to push back, they're likely to be voted out in 2 years anyhow, like a chairman of the SEC's, but got 2 years left. And I don't know really how to define that so much, but it just means that it's going to be a pushback in the shorter term, but in the bigger picture, it's really going to be hard to stop this technology.
McGlone cautions that there could be a major economic crisis on the way and advises people to be careful. He predicts that in the event of a severe global economic recession, Bitcoin is likely to outperform all other cryptocurrencies, including Ethereum.
They hiked rates again. The ECB did a week ago, 50 basis points. And It's probably the last hike. Market's already pricing for easing, a little bit of easing, not a lot yet. But the bottom line is they're potentially tilting us towards a significant recession, potentially depression. I mean, the hike into you can't be a hawk in a bank run is the quote from my colleague, Tom Orrick. He's our chief economist. And he wrote that a little while ago, and they just did. They hiked and we were having a bank run. So the ECB. This is a global bank run. And it potentially, this country is just getting started. Remember, it's basically only been a year and 1 week since the first hike, the most aggressive hikes on a global basis ever. And there's this rule of long and variable lag. So what I see is the bank situation is a tree in the forest of what I've been pointing out for a while. Commodities collapsing. And it's just not getting started because everything is tilting towards recession, except things like unemployment. And unemployment can only go one way. It's so low, it can only go up, which means the recession is virtually guaranteed. You look at things like the yield curve. So I think the Fed is just way far behind, like they were so far behind in inflation. Now that inflation is potentially collapsing, and I'll point that out in a second, the leading indicators, peaking housing, the banking crisis, commodities, means they should have stopped, and they still hiked rates. So I fully see looking forward, we're going to have official acknowledgement of deflation, other from government statistics, not from forward-looking things like my commodities, and the Fed tightened rates. So they're so far behind. The key thing we're going to end with, we're going to find out and get, is now by this time next year, Giovanni, when we're talking, I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about a significant enduring deflationary forces, the Fed not easing with the ease that it has in the past. I think the answer is yes, it's kicking off a next bull run, but it's very much subject to the ebbing tide of the stock market. We're talking right now with the S&P 500 around 4,000. I fully expect it to go to 3,000 in a recession, a normal recession, which is predicted with the highest probability since 1982 from the yield curve. And that's going to be a pressure factor on Bitcoin. But potentially we're hitting that inflection now where this recession is going to be great for things like gold and long bonds. And the thing is Bitcoin in there? I think it's hitting that, but it's just hard to say for sure. But I think the more the Bitcoin can sustain above 25,000 and the more the S&P 500 potentially pressures below 4,000, you're going to have an indication that Bitcoin is just going to take off. And we have to get there. It hasn't been. I think we're at the stage now that Bitcoin's going to outperform virtually all crypto assets if my base case of a severe global economic reset to recession pans out. That's my base case, and I think Bitcoin will continue outperforming. I see Ethereum right now stuck between 1,000 and 2,000. Now it's at 1,700. 2,000 is very good resistance. It is the base layer for tokenization, crypto dollars, and things like that. But now we're in that stage where I think, if I'm correct, the stock market goes closer to 3,000, the S&P 500, and gold and treasury bonds outperform in this significant recession in the U.S., then I think Bitcoin will outperform virtually all cryptos, including Ethereum. That's been the case so far this year. It's the existing trend, and I think it's going to more likely accelerate. So we have to get through this bump in the road, and I think the bottom line to remember from my standpoint as a strategist, it's my duty to warn people when I see a hurricane coming. I see a hurricane coming economically, and that's just based on what you said we spoke about earlier, and it's central banks tightening despite a bank crisis and despite forward-looking deflationary forces. Bitcoin will probably be the best performer among the cryptos, including Ethereum.
McGlone believes that the Fed is far behind in its understanding of the market. He predicts that official acknowledgement of deflation is forthcoming, and the Fed will not ease with the same efficacy as in the past. Despite the potential challenges, McGlone remains bullish on Bitcoin, noting that it is defining itself as global digital collateral in the wake of the financial crisis. He sees the move towards fully collateralized crypto dollars as a positive development for the industry, and suggests that Bitcoin is likely to be the best performer among cryptos in the coming years. McGlone's analysis suggests that the Fed's misunderstanding of the market and the impending economic crisis may provide a backdrop for Bitcoin's growth as a potential hedge against banking issues. What do you think about Mike McGlone's prediction for Bitcoin and the crypto market in 2023? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is the Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.